Ladies and gentlemen, there's a stat in the NFL that I would like to put on trial today. And that stat is completion percentage. So, in the history of football, it seems convenient to be able to count the number of completions and the number of attempts. It's one thing that we've always been able to count. That's a very available statistic. And it's something we all inherently understand: the number of times the quarterback throws the football, the number of times the quarterback completes a pass. But I think as a society, we have moved beyond the use of completion percentage. We've moved beyond it because now it's not just completions that we have data for and attempts we have data for. We have data for spikes, throwaways, batted passes, drops, average depth of target, things like screens. So I think as a society, we should move beyond what completion percentage holds us down to, because and I know that watching a game and looking at a box score are not good substitutes, are not the same. You have to have the context with the individual completions and individual incompletions. For every, normal incompletion or normal completion, like just say a 7-yard slant that's caught or a 15-yard out pass that's airmailed by the quarterback, for every normal play, there's a drop or a throwaway or a spike or a batted pass or something along those lines that the quarterback's not really at fault for. And at the same time, there's ridiculous catches by receivers that, no, that ball was off target. Oh, it's hauled in by George Pickens, for example. So as a society, I think we should move beyond completion percentage. I think we should look at the realm of using your eyes to tell you who's good and who's accurate and who's, getting bailed out by play calls, who's getting bailed out by their receivers, and inversely, who's losing out because they're being forced to make tough throws or they're being forced into bad situations because their wide receiver, tight end, or running back cannot catch passes. So thank you. Please, as a society, let's move on from the completion percentage stat.
That was like a 4-minute cold open, something like that. I think it was less actually because the timer only says 3 minutes. But there you go. That was our cold open today. And yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into episode 93, the Calais Campbell edition of the Sports Desk. I am Ryan Splash Potts, and as always, we are joined by my wonderful wall, Jack Mitchell.
I think I'm kind of in your wall, or you're in my wall too. I think we're just like in each other's walls now. Apparently,
yeah,
that's how that works now.
Okay, I'm gonna pass through. You see, you can't see if I move close enough. You can't see. Haha.
That's true. Okay. You can't see mine either. So yeah.
There you go.
Anyway,
there we go.
How about Team USA? How about them? They did it. They made it out of the group stage. I am psyched. Christian Pulisic took the nut shot of all nut shots to make it to score the game-winning goal.
You're right. He did. That was
in all seriousness,
for real.
It was, and obviously best wishes to him because he did actually end up getting sent to the hospital after the game. He said in a Snapchat post that he'd be good to go for Saturday against the Netherlands, but we'll see what the doctors say. But regardless, I think that is why we need to have that was the ultimate example of why we need to have respect for athletes as a whole, because they put their bodies on the line, partly for our entertainment and partly for just so many other things that they do. So it's that was wild.
It's tremendous, and just the effort from everyone that played today, besides Tim Weah, with all due respect, but the effort from everyone today felt incredible. Just what a game. 8 years since the 8.5 years at this point since the match against Belgium. Tim Howard stood on his head for 120 minutes, and it's back. And the US, for the third consecutive World Cup that they qualified for, are in the round of 16. They will be facing the Netherlands. Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Jack time. If you need other time zones, please check your atlas. I can't help you otherwise. So, Jack, gut reaction. How are you feeling about going and facing the Dutch Saturday?
I don't know. It's a tough call. I've been trying to pay attention to the World Cup as a whole, but like mostly like obviously due to my U.S. bias, I've been sticking with Group B so far. My gut reaction is I'm pretty confident in the U.S. defense at this point, but I want to see them start scoring more goals because they had a lot of opportunities earlier today to put more goals away. You mentioned Tim Weah. He had that header fall right to him. He should have let it go to his foot. Like, really, if you let that go to your feet, that's such an easy goal. Or at least it's a lot easier than what he made it look like it was. So it's just... there's got to be a couple smarter decisions. And then he was just offside on the second one, like, by a nose.
By millimeter. Like, we're talking about, like, barely anything. Close. But, you know, close. I've complained at times, or I've seen other people complain about the offsides rule. And I think it should be as automated as humanly possible, and we can agree to disagree on that, those in the comment world, but I do think it's the kind of thing that, you know, that extra momentum, that extra inch, whatever, that can be the difference sometimes. And I know you hate to see goals wiped off the board, and I know Argentina's had several wiped off the board. I think the US has had a couple wiped off the board, England, etc. I get it, but be onside. Like, it's pretty simple. Or like, if you want to use a baseball analogy, when we have eventually had the automated strike zone, just throw a strike, right? Or if you're a batter, don't swing at a ball. Just these sorts of things. And I do think in general, advancements in technology are good for the sports. Now we can complain about referees in the NFL or the NBA taking 10 years to do a review. That's not by design. They're supposed to do it within 60 seconds, but that's just something I think we have to deal with. And yes, NBA games turned into a marathon in the last 2 minutes. I don't like it either, but I think the sport is better when technology plays some sort of a role.
Yeah, and I think it's also like it's better, I feel like, when it comes to like subjective calls too, because in some sports subjective calls are reviewable, and other sports they aren't. I think in those cases specifically, I think technology, having like video review and things like that, it helps. And I think it like, just, you want to be absolutely certain that you're getting calls right, even if it does take as long as it does. It should still, like, you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. But I think the extra technology is always a huge benefit, because you have to think about how many plays that happened in like the olden days when they didn't have video review. And it was just like how many of things would have counted today that didn't count back then. So
yeah, and I mean, that, I know that adds to the character, and I'll use the example, the 5th and goal play for the Colorado Buffaloes back in the day, back in the early 90s. That's an integral moment to the history of college football, right? And you have other things like the in 1966, one of England's goals may or may not have crossed the goal line. I was watching a documentary about the 66 team the other day. May or may not have crossed the goal line, but it counts. It helps England get into extra time, and England eventually wins in extra time. So, you know, some things change, and that's the nature of sports, I guess. But I do think getting the technology aid is helpful. And I will say that I was biting my nails a little bit when when Iran almost had a penalty in the 97th, 98th minute, like a little tug at the shoulder. And
it was like he got a hand on the shoulder, but like the player was already falling down. He had too much forward momentum.
Hey.
Literally,
have you seen Into the Spider-Verse?
I have, yeah.
Yeah,
or I've seen that part at least. Yeah,
we've ever seen a movie together. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I get the reference. Okay, bottom line. So, yeah, that was a bit of a heart-stopping moment. But then, I think Stu Holden, who was doing the commentary for Fox, he said like that's the same ref who like let somebody else get away with what should have been a much dirtier penalty.
Yeah,
so.
It was the Qatar Senegal? I think Qatar Senegal sounds right.
I don't remember. Either way,
or Qatar Ecuador.
So, bottom line, I think my biggest thoughts from this match are that the U.S. just needs to get the offense going again. Hopefully guys like Weah can bounce back, because obviously we know Weah can score. Hopefully Pulisic is healthy. Hopefully what's his name, Gio Reyna gets more play time.
We need to see Reyna. I'm
a
pretty soccer casual, and I need to see Gino Reyna. Gino Reyna? Gio, yes.
Yeah. Also, somebody needs to get Walker Zimmerman an ice pack for how many times he headed the ball away. He was just constantly, like 3 times in a row, just nailing it, like clearing it out with his head. Like, get that man an ice pack, seriously.
Ice pack, get him a helmet.
Football helmet.
Yeah, get him
whatever
a helmet.
It is. I guess they call it football, so.
Yeah. How far, if you had a helmet on, how far do you think they'd be able to head the ball?
Not far, honestly.
I don't know, though.
I don't know, actually. You could get a lot of bounce off of it. Because, like, you have that padded protection, so you're just kind of, like, throwing your head into it a little bit more, knowing that it probably won't hurt as bad.
I don't know.
Yeah, just, who knows? A lot of questions still so far, but hopefully the U.S. can get the offense rolling, because you're not, at the end of the day, you know, the defense is solid. I love what they did against England. Some people were saying England was phoning it in for that game. I disagree. I think the U.S. defense
the U.S. just outplayed England in that match.
They outplayed them so bad. And it's just, at this point, though, the reality is they only have 2 goals in 3 games. That's not going to win you the World Cup. If you want to make a run, then you need to score a lot more. So hopefully the offense picks it up against the Netherlands on Saturday. And yeah,
just some timekeeping. Netherlands USA is Saturday. Senegal England is Sunday. Also, I just want to throw this in there. I was reminded about this when I was looking up some World Cup stats. In 2006, the Swiss did not concede a goal, yet they lost in the knockout round. So, good job, everybody.
There you go. Yeah. So that's like all draws, but they lost in the knockout rounds.
Well, no, they did get out of the group. They might have finished top of their group, but they played the Ukraine in the round of 16, 0-0 after 120 minutes. Ukraine nailed 3 penalties. Switzerland is the only team to ever not make a penalty in a penalty shootout, and the Ukraine advanced to their first ever quarterfinal.
There you go.
Swiss went home without conceding a goal. 4 clean sheets.
That must be such a weird feeling. Four clean sheets, and then suddenly you're on the plane home. So
yeah, bummer.
It is what it is. All right.
It is what it is.
Shall we dive into some football of the American variety?
I think we should. We did have the cold open, but Jack, did you know that both of our teams suck in the fourth quarter?
No, really?
Yeah, really.
The Rams had a fourth quarter touchdown last week.
Yeah,
no, they suck.
32nd in the NFL.
They're terrible.
Point differential in the fourth quarter. This is a Baltimore team. The Rams, I can't speak for. The Baltimore Ravens are like the best team in the league in the first 3 quarters. They're up there with the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Vikings. Every team you think is good, Baltimore is right there. And then in the fourth quarter, bam!
The Rams are up and down throughout games this season, but I think we've reached a point where they are just way too hurt. Like, I don't think I can like spend any more time each week coming on the show and being like, oh yeah, no, Stafford's fine. He just has an unhealthy O-line, or he doesn't have all of his targets, or just the elbow is a problem, apparently.
Remember, this was an issue heading into the season.
Yeah, but he's not even dealing with the elbow problem. It's like
that's true. Now
it's a neck/concussion problem or whatnot. But like at this point, like there's not even like any kind of excuse that I can come up with other than this team is just hurt. Mm-hmm. And now I messaged you last night too. Aaron Donald's popping up with an ankle sprain injury, and it's just like at that point, you only have 3 wins. Mm-hmm. Like if Aaron Donald has to miss time this season, I think you just pack it in. I really do. And like as painful as it is to say, because they just did win the Super Bowl, it's like it just sucks. It's like you don't. Yeah. I'm almost tempted to not even say that this is like the price that they paid for winning the Super Bowl, because yeah, they went all in, but like the price they were supposed to pay was just like you lose people on contracts and you can't re-sign anybody, so you're just kind of stuck in rebuild mode for a little bit. This season was not any of that. Everybody just got hurt. Kupp's hurt. Robinson's hurt. Both Ashawn Robinson and Allen Robinson are hurt.
Yes.
Stafford's hurt. Now Aaron Donald's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You're cutting your best running back.
That was just.
This is a stat that baffled me. The Rams have played 11 games. They have 11 different starting offensive lines.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I get it. Like, the Ravens have had a couple because Stanley was coming back from an injury and you didn't want to play him too much, right? So that's a bit of a load management thing. But that's 11 different alignments, and it wasn't even the initial alignment they wanted to start the season with because Logan Bruss tore his ACL. And you go into training camp and you're gearing up for the season and you're like, okay, we have our left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle set. Boom. And then the dominoes start falling and injury. Now, it's not like the Rams offensive line has played well. I'm not going to say that, but just a slew of injuries and key injuries to key pieces, to starters. This isn't a case of, oh, your left tackle's healthy, your left guard's healthy, your center's healthy, your right guard's healthy, but you're on your 11th string right tackle. We all know teams that's happened to. The Saints last year missed tons of tackle time, but it's just been a wacky year for the Rams, and you can take solace that you did win a Super Bowl, and you can that's the ultimate goal.
I was watching highlights last night. Like, that's just where my mind is at. Like, it's just like, as suckish as it is to say, it's like that's kind of where, like, our fan base ultimately has to realize that that it's worth it in that regard. Like, the fact, like, if we were going through all this stuff this season and coming off of another losing Super Bowl, then I think you're looking at like a rebuild, like a serious rebuild. But in this case, you have to realize that like a lot of the talent is still on the roster. Everybody was just getting hurt left and right. And they did win the Super Bowl. They have, like, that's why you play the games, to win the game. So it's just, it's tough to swallow, but my message to Rams fans at this point is just thank God we're not the Jaguars or the Jets or anybody like that, because as bad of a season as this is, some fans have had it worse for a lot of years, and they're still being loyal. So I'm still tuning in on Sunday when they play the Seahawks, even if we're going to get destroyed. I tuned in last week when we played the Chiefs, even though I knew we were going to get destroyed. They actually didn't play terribly against the Chiefs. The defense
covered. Did you guys cover, or was it just a push?
I don't remember. I think we covered. I don't remember.
17, was it 27-17?
26.
Was it 26-10?
Was it 26-10? I don't know.
I think it was 26-10. Dang, you guys pushed. I don't want to say I'm surprised, because that's
26-10
number. But yeah, that's a push.
I don't know. It's just like, tough it out for the rest of the season. At least take solace in the Super Bowl win, and then come back stronger next year.
Okay, I do have some good news for you. The Rams don't play another good team the rest of the season. They play I guess they play Seattle. That's a divisional game. I'm not going to count.
They play Seattle twice still.
Okay.
That's
let me backtrack. Divisional games are always winnable.
For sure.
They're always winnable. So you have,
unless they're the 49ers.
That's a good point. 2 games against Seattle. Vegas at home, short week. At Green Bay after a mini bye. Although I guess Green Bay has their bye coming up anyway, so it doesn't matter. Then they end the season. Denver, the Chargers stink, and then Seattle. The Rams can't really screw up their first round pick because it's already traded. So any wins, like, the Rams don't have an incentive to lose. So I do wonder, they have a 3% chance of making the playoffs, as long of a shot as that is.
They basically have to win out.
They have some winnable games. I think they can beat Seattle. I think Seattle's not this unbeatable juggernaut. There's a world I think the Rams can squeeze out 3 wins in a row and head into week 16 with about a 20% chance of making the playoffs. And like, it's obviously going to be tough to beat Seattle twice, but I think those other 4 games are very winnable, especially if you have Matthew Stafford. You can beat Denver. The Chargers, like I've said all season, stink. If you win those 5 games, if you win
It's
You go
5 games.
5-1 in that stretch.
And we don't. You said with Stafford. The thing is, we don't know if Stafford's even going to be healthy. I'm prepared for Bryce Perkins the rest of the year.
Yeah, and if you lose that last game to Seattle, then you're down to 3% anyways. Okay, never mind. The Rams would they need to win out, and even if they do win out, they would only have they'd have a 77% chance of making the playoffs.
Which isn't the lowest number ever, but like it's just like
that's going 6-0 to end your season.
Yeah, and it's probably not going to happen because again, just way too many injuries. Like we mentioned Stafford and like Bryce Perkins is the starter now, but like Stafford's or like even if he does come back, he's still playing behind a bunch of third and fourth string O linemen. He's still. And that like he might still be missing Cooper Kupp for a good chunk. Cooper Kupp might not be back until I think week 14. And by that point, it's like, do you even bother like playing him again? Do you like risk? He'll want to play again, obviously, but it's like I'm of the mindset that like if the team gets eliminated from the playoffs, you don't want to risk further injury to guys who you're going to need long term.
Yeah, I think it's a tough road because the guys want to compete. Like NFL players are playing. A lot of them are playing for their livelihood. We always talk about the big money guys, the Staffords and the Donalds and the Ramseys, and they're going to make $25 million this year anyways. It doesn't matter if they go 0-17 or 17-0. But there's a lot of guys on the Rams rosters. There's a lot of guys on the Texans, Raiders, Broncos. I guess the Raiders have a pulse now. Bears, Packers, Saints, Panthers. There's a lot of guys on those teams that are playing for a contract this season, playing for a contract next season. They are playing for a roster spot. So that is going to be something interesting that I will tune into with some of these players moving forward. And how will they operate? Who's checking out because they have 3 more years in their deal, and who's trying to ball out and secure a big bag next offseason?
For sure. That's definitely worth keeping in mind. Alrighty.
Shall we rip the Band-Aid off?
Let's rip the Band-Aid off.
Okay. There's some good and some bad with what happened in Jacksonville on Sunday. First, the good. Lamar was unreal. Like, I know you can look at the stats, 16-32 for like 240 yards. He had 80 on the ground, one total touchdown.
Wait, but I thought Lamar Jackson was on the Bears. No, I'm just kidding. There was, I think...
he's on the Broncos now.
The Broncos, yeah, sorry. Tom Pelissero had that ultimate troll tweet where it was a different Lamar Jackson.
That Lamar picks off Lamar.
Yeah.
That would be, anyway. That would be amazing. But anyways, actually not amazing. But I thought Lamar was awesome. He had one misfire. He missed Demarcus Robinson on a long touchdown early. Other than that, that's 1 throw out of 32. I thought he was excellent. The adjusted completion percentage way over 70%, which is exactly where it normally is. And he only completed 50% of his passes. Okay, 6 drops by the Baltimore, five drops by the Baltimore Ravens as counted by PFF, plus some throwaways, plus a batted pass. So it's like really like a 21-28 sort of game, rather than a 16-32. But I digress. Lamar was great. The rest of the team, just Marlon Humphrey is excused from this. Justin Tucker is excused from this. Offensive line in general is excused from this. But when you're a team as good as the Baltimore Ravens are, this is a team that's supposed to make the playoffs every year, is supposed to compete for Super Bowls, has a Hall of Fame head coach, is one of the most expensive defenses in the NFL, and has a quarterback that's about to get paid $250 million, if not more. What another spineless performance when it matters. And that's, to me, been the issue, in that Baltimore has yet to have a game that they looked good offensively and defensively for 4 quarters. They've had games that they looked good offensively for 4 quarters. Miami, they scored 38 points. New England, they scored 37 points. But they haven't had a game that the offense and defense were in sync. They were very close against New Orleans. They were up 27-6. There were some red zone issues. There were some miscommunication sort of deal. Lamar wasn't perfect. He was fine in that game. Tampa was another. They just didn't play particularly well in the first half offensively. Defensively, they kept it together. Then defensively, they were very good in the second half. Offensively, they were very good in the second half. Carolina, awesome defensively, couldn't move the ball offensively. So you head into this game against Jacksonville. And Jacksonville, you can look at the record, and I will throw out the record with Jacksonville. Look at the point differential with Jacksonville. Look at who they've played and how well they've played. They murdered the Chargers. The Chargers are somehow getting a pass for that game. They got 40-pieced at home, or not quite 40-pieced, 30-pieced at home. And everyone's cool with it. Everyone's cool with it. Oh, well, Justin Herbert was hurt. Okay. Lamar actually played well, and Lamar is getting bashed for this. But I just spineless. Defensively, Calais Campbell sacks Trevor Lawrence under 2 minutes to go, and the Jags have to go 86 yards in about a minute 15. They have no timeouts. Trevor Lawrence, to his credit, boom, 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 touchdown. And they're going for 2 because guess what? Doug Peterson has a brain, and the Jags have nothing to lose in that situation. If you win, great. You have a 5% chance of making the playoffs. If you lose, great. You improved your draft pick. And I think the Chargers even made the right decision. And that's a pretty ballsy one against an inferior Arizona team. But I agree with that decision.
That's something that Brandon Staley would do. That fits.
And he was right. He was right. And I don't think I've heard a soul. I mean, granted, I will say that I haven't digested as much NFL content as I usually do Sunday, Monday, but I don't think a soul has talked about how gutsy and how brilliant the Doug Peterson call was and the Brandon Staley call was. For the Jags, it's a little bit, who cares? They're the Jags a little bit because they're 4-7. They're a very good 4-7, which is a little oxymoronic. But the Chargers, if they fail that, are 5-6. They'd be 2 full games out of a playoff spot because right now, the Jets are 7-4. The Bengals are 7-4. They occupy the 6 and the 7 seed. Bengals are
the Jets 7-4. Good.
The Jets are 7-4. They are 7-2 when they don't play Bill Belichick. Let me put this into perspective. Since Joe Flacco, since Zach Wilson replaced Joe Flacco, the Jets are 6-2, and their only losses are to the New England Patriots.
And they kind of looked good with Mike White.
Yeah. Okay. I will say, yeah, we can talk about this game. I'm down. It's weird, and I think the Jets are. This is a. I don't have a real comparison for this because the Jets are kind of both shooting themselves in the foot so badly with Zach Wilson, but doing the exact same thing to swinging that momentum the other direction to help Mike White. And they did it last year too, that Mike White has had 2 of the top 10 perhaps games by quarterback in Jets history.
That's
somehow not a joke.
That Sunday, that was the first Jets opening drive touchdown all season long led by Mike White. I feel like, I don't know, when you put it that way, I'm kind of not surprised why so many Jets fans are just so quick to now they're completely turning on Zach Wilson. I guess I shouldn't say quick because they've had to deal with him for a couple of years now. Okay. But it's
have you seen the flirting versus harassment meme?
I think so.
Okay. Have you seen the British chef that yells a lot? Duck sauce. Dude.
I almost said Jalen Ramsey. It's Gordon Ramsay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You know the Gordon Ramsay one that you're a donkey, and then on the one side, my sweet precious or whatever.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, that's how Jets coaches treat Zach Wilson and Mike White, because the offense fundamentally changes when you go from Zach Wilson to Mike White, and you're thinking, well, duh, Splash, they're different quarterbacks. Yes, but stylistically, they aren't night and day different. It's a night and day different offense when they play. And this Zach Wilson offense is a lot of times more predicated on Wilson making plays as opposed to White. You're letting the playmakers around him. And we know the Jets have good playmakers with Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Conklin, Michael Carter, even Bam Knight looked good. He was their top rusher, and the Jets kind of like almost are throwing in obstacles to prevent Zach Wilson from being good. And it's baffling to me that the same coaching staff, the same Mike LaFleur led coaching staff offensively, can have such dramatically different ideologies when you have Zach Wilson, you have Mike White. They are treating, now in fairness to them, they're treating Zach Wilson like the number 2 pick. The problem with that is they need him to be the savior if they're going to play like that. And Zach Wilson's not that guy. He's not that good. If Jacksonville can do that with Lawrence, I think Fields in Chicago, they can operate it. But if you're going to play like Zach Wilson's the number 2 overall pick, he has to be the number 2 overall pick. He has to play like it, and he hasn't. And the Jets have a strategy with Mike White. This guy was a 5th round pick like 5 years ago. He's 27. He hasn't had like a real stretch of starts in his career. Let's tone it down a little bit. Let's play more complementary offense. And they do. And they beat the Bengals last year. And this year, and then last year, before getting injured against the Colts, he had a nice start to that game. And this year, it's the Bears. Yes, it's the Bears. Reminder, it's the Bears. And the Bears stink defensively.
Bears just stink.
But Mike White looked good. Mike White made some good throws. And he graded out well by QBR. He was over 90, one of the top 10 games of the season. PFF had him over 75. Very good performance. Was he elite? No. Was he good? I think he was good. He was a functional good. And if the Jets get quarterback play like that every week, just the eye test with Mike White, if the offense moves like that, not necessarily Mike White, if the offense plays like that, that will play against any team in the NFL besides New England, because New England owns them. But thankfully, they probably don't have to play New England again. So that'll play.
Man, can you imagine if we get a Jets-Patriots game?
That would be like the 6th seed versus the 7th seed in the playoffs.
Oh, my God. That would be unwatchable, too. I feel like the Jets just wouldn't show up for that one. But it is pretty hard to beat a team 3 times in a year, so who knows?
That's a good point. I do want to run this by you. How many AFC teams do you think are like legitimate? How many AFC teams do you think could win a playoff game? Just one playoff game. If I go through the list, could you say like a yes or no?
Yeah, go through the list, because I have my mini helmets and I don't want to like spend time plucking out every AFC helmet. So just
all right. Bills.
Yes.
Dolphins.
Yes.
Jets.
That's video game boss, like you said, like we've said before. We've alluded to that before.
It's just one playoff game.
One playoff game? I feel like it depends on the opponent.
Okay, that's fair. Patriots.
Same. I think it depends on the opponent.
Ravens.
Yeah.
Bengals.
Not this season, no.
Really? Browns.
I don't.
With Deshaun Watson now.
Ooh, that's gonna be. We're gonna see Deshaun Watson in Cleveland for the first time next week. So
I have a rant about that momentarily, but
I think we wait on that and then make that determination. Pittsburgh, absolutely not.
Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee.
Jacksonville.
No.
Indy.
No.
Houston's about to be eliminated. I'm not going to ask. Chiefs.
Yeah, not even Houston. Yeah, 100%.
Chargers.
No, but close. I think the Chargers actually are dependent on the opponent too.
Okay, Raiders.
Absolutely not.
And Let's Rides.
No.
Okay, so you have, I believe, five teams that can contend, and then 3.5 others that are
3 maybes, and then I think it just like some of them are like opponent dependent. Like if you put the Patriots against the Chiefs, the Patriots don't stand a chance.
That's fair.
But if you put them against the Jets, it's probably a more winnable game.
Right. Okay, so you have essentially 9 AFC teams that could contend.
Sure.
Who misses like the playoffs out of that 9? Because I don't think New England makes the playoffs. It just, even looking at their schedule, they play Buffalo twice.
Oh,
I don't want to say that's 2 automatic L's, but
it feels like 2 automatic L's.
And I think it's an automatic L with Miami. Even if you split with Buffalo, I don't think they beat Miami. And then your 3 other games are at Arizona, at Vegas, who has a pulse now, and Cincinnati. You have to win at least 2 of those games to have a chance.
What's the Raiders' record right now?
The Raiders are 4-7. They've won
Four-
back-to-back games, and they play the Rams next week. So, they might the Rams.
They play the Chargers first. They play the Chargers
that's
and then the
true.
Rams. And then, so like those are winnable games for the Raiders. The Patriots might be a winnable game for the Raiders. The Steelers might be a winnable game.
Oh, the Raiders own the Steelers. That's not a question.
We could be looking at the Raiders winning their next 4 games, and like that could be a crazy dark horse.
Now they have
because
San Francisco, Kansas City to end the season, so
they're not winning either of those.
I think you can kind of punt on the playoff idea, but the Raiders,
I mean,
the Raiders are.
You never know.
I don't know. Hey, they beat Indy and the Chargers.
Listen, if they're not mathematically eliminated, then it's not too late. So we'll see what happens.
So 9 teams in the AFC you think are contenders or good. Who misses the playoffs?
I feel like, as biased as this sounds, I feel like the Chargers are going to do it again. They're going to just be themselves again at the last second and screw their season. It just feels like it's leading to that again, although it did benefit them against Arizona, but that won't always work every single opponent.
And they have some tough games coming up. They have Vegas, who has a pulse now, like I said. Miami, Tennessee, that they might split those. Then Colts, Rams, and then Denver. So they have this stretch of 3 games that if they can stay above water, let's say they beat Vegas and they beat Tennessee, and then they lose to Miami, that 538 puts it as about a 58% or about a 63% chance they make the playoffs. I'll take those odds with Indy, LA Rams, Denver coming up. That's not a desirable stretch. And if they lose 2 out of 3, because I think they could lose 2 out of 3. Again, Vegas has a pulse. Tennessee is very well coached, and Miami is one of the best teams in the league. I think the Chargers are a fair bet. I also think the Patriots are a fair bet. Just some losable games on their schedule, and
I'm not loving the Jets schedule either. I'm looking at the rest of the Jets schedule right now. Their next game is against Minnesota. That's probably a loss. Buffalo, that could go either way because they stunned Buffalo, but like I don't know if that. I feel like they're going to split with Buffalo this year.
I don't think the Jets have a guaranteed win the rest of the season. Now, I think they're better than Detroit. They're better than Jacksonville. They should win those games.
They should, but the Lions have been so like stingy this year. I feel like the Lions might win that game. They'll probably beat Jacksonville. Seattle, I don't know, and then Miami's a divisional game that could go either way. But I'm not. Bottom line, like you have games against the Vikings, Bills, and Lions. I'm not loving the rest of this Jets schedule.
I will say, if you manage to beat the Lions and the Jags, you're at 9 wins. You probably only need 1 more to make the playoffs.
Yeah. So
then
there's a chance
the rest of the way.
But I'm
going to say probably get to 10 wins. I think 10 wins is enough to make the playoffs. I don't think the Chargers aren't going to be a guarantee to get to 10 wins. Buffalo will, Dolphins will. I don't think the Patriots will. The Ravens should. The Bengals.
Realistically, the Ravens should. I just want to see one complete game out of them.
Man, and it sucks because it's the worst part. Other than people blaming Lamar for something totally out of his control, Marcus Peters got roasted. Roquan Smith was missing tackles. Patrick Queen was missing tackles. Just a poor performance by the back 7.
Welcome to the I just watched Marcus Peters get toasted club.
Allowed 2
I've dealt with that.
PFF looked like 3, but
I've dealt with that one too many times, and not great. Fair. We should do this for the NFC too.
Yeah,
that was a fun little segment, like a playoff bubble.
Man, the annoying thing with Baltimore is that these losses don't go away. If you, win 4 in a row, they don't just disappear. Because guess what? The Ravens did win 4 in a row. They won 4 games in a row. I don't want to say very convincingly, but they put it to the Saints. They had a game almost losing fumble by not Lamar Jackson against Cleveland that 9 times out of 10, they just finished that drive and the game's over. And Tampa scored a late touchdown and had an onside kick opportunity. Really, like, if you're in that situation up 12 or 10 with a minute left, you did something right in that game. And I think that's what the Ravens have to take note of. And that's what I think people around the league have to take note of. Yeah, Baltimore has blown some of these games, but at the same time, every team has lost every team in the AFC has lost twice. Like, the Chiefs have a really bad loss against Indianapolis that isn't held against them. The Bills lost to the Jets. Like, I know the Jets are like halfway decent this year. The Bills lost to the Jets, but that's not held against the Bills. They lost to the Dolphins. That's not held against the Bills, but it is held against the Ravens, right? And losing to the Bills, oh, that's held against the Ravens. And losing to the Giants, oh, that's held against the Ravens. The Tennessee lost to the Giants too. I don't know. I think it's just a weird double standard with the with
I
the Bills.
feel that double standard.
All right, let's play the same game with the NFC. Are the Eagles contenders?
Well, actually, let me segue this a little bit too, because we have clinching scenarios coming into this next week. If the Eagles and Vikings, I believe, are those are the only two teams that can clinch. I don't remember all the clinching scenarios, but yeah, the Eagles and Vikings. I'm just gonna say that right now. Yeah, those are probably.
The Vikings clinch a playoff spot with a win and a Lions loss. A win and a Lions loss gives them a playoff spot. It's as simple as that. And
there you go.
They play the Jets. The Lions play the Jags. Reasonable chance that happens. I think the Vikings should be favored, at least according to 538's model. The Lions are slight favorites over the Jags at home, and the Vikings are 6-point favorites over the Jets. So realistically, the Vikings clinch. The Eagles, they need a bunch of things to go their way, and they are playing Tennessee this week, so it starts with a win over Tennessee and then some other teams losing. But the nice thing with Philadelphia, if they win just one of their next 6 games, that'll be 11 wins. That'll ensure they have a better record than the Lions, the Packers, the Bears, the Falcons, the Panthers, the Saints.
Pretty hard to miss the playoffs at 11 wins. So you're essentially locking yourself in.
Very difficult. Now, there are some permutations. They could blow it because they do play the Giants twice. So you could end up, falling in the division. So I'm going to do a hypothetical. Let's say they beat Tennessee, then lose to the Giants, then lose to Chicago. Keep in mind, the Chicago Bears aren't good at football. Then lose to Dallas, right? You could blow the division. Like, blowing the division is not out of the question with how many times they play these divisional opponents. That's a fair point. However, blowing the chance at making the playoffs is quite unlikely, and it would require even if they win against Tennessee, then lose the rest of their games, they're still at over 99% chance to win to make the playoffs. And them missing the playoffs would be contingent on Atlanta or Seattle going crazy. And keep in mind, Seattle would have to go 5-1, if not 6-0. And I don't know if Seattle can do that. And I don't think the Falcons would be eliminated in this case. But I don't think the Seahawks are just ripping off 6 wins. They play the Chiefs. They play the Jets. I don't think they're just casually ripping off, 6 wins out of 7. So.
Let me look at the playoff picture really quick.
Sure.
Okay, so the game is basically who can win. Like, who do we think can win a playoff?
Yeah, who is not the 2021 Pittsburgh Steelers?
Okay. Eagles, they can win a playoff game. Vikings, they can win a playoff game. Yep. Niners, as painful as this is to say, yes, they can because of their defense. Mm-hmm. But, I feel like they're only in this position because the rest of the division sucks. Not that they're playing bad football. Again, their defense is...
Oh, no, I guess they'd be a game over 500. This is the team that lost to Denver, lost to Chicago. What?
They've had some really weird losses this year.
Why do the 49ers get a pass for losing to the Falcons, Bears, I guess that's a bad weather game, and Broncos?
I think part of it has to do with the fact that Trey Lance was there. Mm-hmm. And Lance did end up getting hurt.
I'll give them a pass for the Chicago game because that was just terrible weather. You got whacked by the Falcons. And I know this is ironic because the Falcons play the Ravens in a few weeks and the Falcons could very well beat the Ravens. But that game would be held against the Ravens. Why are the 49ers losses not held against them? And why are the Bills losses? Why is Josh Allen playing like trash not held against them?
He had one good game on the national stage and then...
The Niners have 4 losses. They lost and they lost to the Chiefs, the Bucks. The Chiefs, the Falcons, worse than the Bucks somehow, some way. Denver, and friggin' the Bears. What gives? Like, you look at the Ravens record. I hate bringing this back to Baltimore, but the Ravens lost to an 8-3 team, a team that started 6-1 and then got injured, and now they lose on the only time out of 190 opportunities the Jags have ever won a game like that.
Yeah.
But that's held against them.
I don't know. Anyway, Niners, they can probably win a playoff game, I would say, only because of their defense. Their defense has just been lights out as of late, so
actually, I do have a stat for you, but you can continue.
What is it, like no points allowed in the last?
Oh, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's not okay. The Buccaneers are a tricky one. They're a really tricky one. Like, I feel like they're probably in a comfortable enough spot to make it, just because, again, the rest of the division is cheeks, but I don't know if they can win a playoff game this year. I don't know if Tom Brady has... I don't know if he has it left in him yet, still. He could. We've counted him out before, and he's done ridiculous stuff before, so we'll see. But
fair point. All right, the San Francisco 49ers defense leads the NFL in points allowed, yards allowed, first downs allowed, passing touchdowns allowed, rushing yards allowed per attempt, and points allowed per drive. I will say it helps playing the Rams twice. Okay, listen.
You were taking shots right here, Jesus.
19 points allowed to the Bears, 7 to Seattle, 11 to Denver. They lost that game, by the way. 9 to the Rams, 15 to Carolina, 28 to Atlanta, because Atlanta, 44 to the Chiefs, 14 to the Rams, 16 to the Chargers, 10 to the Cardinals, 0 to the Saints. First time the Saints were shut out in 20 years.
Jesus.
Two teams have scored more than 20 on them, and one of them is the Atlanta Falcons. Okay.
The other one's the Chiefs. So it's like...
That's a good point. And the Bears scored 19 in bad weather with 200 yards. How did the Falcons get they only
This
had
is all
289
pain.
yards.
This is all genuine pain. This is why I was watching NFC Championship stuff last night. Just to, like, cope. Exactly. Just, ugh. Life sucks when the Niners are a good team.
Jalen Hawkins had a fumble recovery. Yes, that's right. So they did get a defensive touchdown, but they were down 14-0 to the Falcons. The Falcons blow the 14-point lead.
Moving on.
But then they... Okay, sorry.
No, yeah. Anyway, moving on, because I don't want to keep talking Niners propaganda. Cowboys, they can win a playoff game. I think this is the year they break their drought. Giants... Ooh, that's a tricky one.
I think the Giants are
probably not
in the Rams bucket of just past the point of no return with the injuries.
Yeah,
like, they're just losing. They've lost a critical mass.
Washington is in a playoff spot right now. I don't want. That's another tricky one because, like, Taylor Heineke.
It's very matchup dependent.
It is, yeah. It feels matchup dependent because, I will say, if they had Carson Wentz still, I'd say no. But Taylor Heineke makes things really interesting, and they just seem to like him to be their guy. So it's like,
I think there's a couple factors at play with Washington because the only time we've ever seen Heineke in the playoffs, he outplayed Brady in a playoff game, which is not.
He lost the playoff game, but he still outplayed Brady. So it's
he outplayed Brady, and he was unreal in that game. So you think, okay, he's going to raise his game in the playoffs to some degree. And the Commanders have what a lot of teams don't have, and they have depth along the defensive line, and they can come in droves. And they're 7-5 without Chase Young. This is a team that started 1-4. They've rattled off these wins, and some impressive wins, I might add. They beat Philadelphia, which is they
ended their unbeaten season. So
yes, they ended their unbeaten season. This is not a pushover Commanders team. Are they good? No, reserve judgment on that. But what we know about the Commanders is that they will beat you in several different ways that many other teams are not built to like kind of defend that. It's like a low post game in the NBA. Like Joel Embiid is going to have some nights on the schedule that the other team just doesn't have a good center, just doesn't have a physically dominant center. He's going to go for 36 and 14 rebounds, and the Sixers are going to win. Now there's going to be games that he faces, someone that can guard him, like a Jared Allen type or an Anthony Davis type that can, match him either shot for shot or can get like decent defense, or a Jokic that can match him shot for shot on the other end. And you might lose that game. But the Commanders' great defensive line, solid enough linebacker play, their safeties have played with their hair on fire. I've never seen this. I swear that, with all due respect to Sean Taylor, Washington Redskins legend. I said the word. Despicable what the Commanders did to Sean Taylor.
Yeah,
but
that was.
Anyways, with all due respect to Sean Taylor, the Commanders have just reincarnated Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu in their defense. I swear, I have never seen anything like it. Derek Forrest and Cam Curl, very good player before this season. Derek Forrest and Cam Curl have been like top 5 safeties. What?
Where did that come from, too?
I had legitimately never heard of Derek Forrest, and then he's like the best player in week 1. It's like, at least with Hufanga, I predicted the breakout for Hufanga. At least with Javon Holland was in my All-Pro team last year. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a 2-time NFL All-Pro. Eddie Jackson, rest in peace his ankle, or rest in peace his foot, actually. Eddie Jackson, yeah, he's a former All-Pro. He's victimized the Ravens with a pick 6. He makes plays. But Derek Forrest? I didn't know who he was before the season started. I knew who he was.
Now you do.
Yeah, he's been an All-Pro. I think
Eddie Jackson, the man who forgot to touch Van Jefferson when he scored the opening touchdown of the season.
I'm going to go full screen for a moment. Here it is. It says Hufanga, and underneath it says Forrest.
There you go.
That's my All-Pro team, by the way. You can't read it, but that's my All-Pro team. Also, I'm going to keep Surtain in because he's probably going to pick Lamar off 5 times.
Okay. As for the rest of the NFC, Seattle. Oof, I don't see a lot of these teams winning playoff games, honestly.
Seattle's a tough one because
Seattle's opponent dependent. Atlanta, I don't even think is going to make the playoffs.
No.
Lions. If the Lions get in,
17% chance.
If the Lions get in, that's opponent dependent. The Packers, not this year.
Nope.
And then I don't think the rest of these teams are. Carolina's going to miss it. Arizona, Saints, Rams, Bears, they're all going to miss.
All right. Let's have a conversation about one Aaron Rodgers. So, I don't know if you've talked to Alex, Lambeau Leapers, but I was in the chat with him, and he talked Rodgers, and he said that Rodgers is under contract the next 3 years, and whether Packers fans like it or not, he will be the starting quarterback the next 3 years unless he retires, which he won't. Do you take him at face value there? Or do you think there's a chance Rodgers weasels his way out of Green Bay?
I don't know.
What's the value in trading for Rodgers? Like, what are you going to trade for Aaron Rodgers? Because he's been reasonable this season. I'll pull up his stats while you make your point.
He has been reasonable, but it's just like I don't see. Like, I think something to keep in mind is that, like, we don't know if this is going to continue next season. Aaron Rodgers this season, I feel like a lot of teams are not looking at Green Bay like they are this world beater team. Mm-hmm. And I think probably the biggest reason why is because they don't have Devontae Adams anymore. And without Devontae Adams, it feels like just Rodgers hasn't really had anybody else to connect with. And he has had targets that, like, he has familiarity with, like Alan Lazard is still there. I think Tunyon is still there, right? Or did he move on? Yeah, Tunyon's still there. So there's
Sammy
pieces
Watkins.
there. Rams legend Sammy Watkins.
Forgot about that. Jeez.
That was such a weird year, 2017. It was a good year, but weird. I don't know. It's really tricky. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is at a point where if he decides he's done, he's just going to hang it up. He has basically done all that, like, you really can do in a career without being Tom Brady and winning like 7 Super Bowls, because like he does have the Super Bowl ring. Right. It's just, I really don't like it. I feel like we're in a portion of like Aaron Rodgers might take it year by year and decide like, does he want to keep going, or is he, because like, again, like I said, a lot of teams probably this season don't view the Packers as world beaters. I don't like, we have, the Rams have Green Bay coming up on their schedule soon. If we were healthy, or at least healthier, I would predict a win. I really would. And I think that they just haven't been able to like hang with a lot of teams that they've been able to hang with as of late. And their offense just hasn't, it's lacked that like explosiveness to it.
Right.
It's such an odd year for Aaron Rodgers that like, I don't know if this is something that's going to be the norm for him next season, or if he just sees this performance and he's decided, yeah, enough's enough, I'm going to retire. So like, I really don't know. It just comes down to a matter of like, is he willing and able to play? And does he have in him more of that like vintage Aaron Rodgers that we know and love him for? Because if he's on fire, then Green Bay is absolutely a contender.
Yeah, I agree. And like the stats aren't as good as he was the last 2 years, but remember he won the NFL MVP the last 2 seasons. So 4-8 record, 21 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, his most in a season since 2010, which ironically they won the Super Bowl in. His highest interception rate since 2017, his lowest touchdown rate since 2019, his lowest passer rating in a season since 2015. But again, those numbers fluctuate based on who he's playing with at the wide receiver position, how much he trusts his wide receivers. And as we know, in my rant at the beginning about completion percentage, Aaron Rodgers likes to throw the ball away sometimes, and that'll drag down the old completion percentage. But, I think Rodgers is still at that level that you can win with. You can certainly win with him at quarterback. It's just I think the MVP play might be beyond like just the unthinkably good, because he was unthinkably good for 2 seasons, right? And he's had those elevated runs of play that we've really never seen before outside of Peyton. Even Brady hasn't like strung together like 3 or 4 years in a row that he should have won the MVP, right? 16, 17, you could argue, but I think he wins one, not the other in every situation, because he was better than Matt Ryan in 2016, but Ryan played 16 games. And then in 17, I would take Wentz and potentially even Gurley, but Brady played 16 games and, yada, yada, yada this. So Rodgers is almost incomparable in that, like his stretches of dominance, but I don't think he's quite cooked. He's definitely not cooked. He's still an above average NFL quarterback.
For sure. Like I would still take him over like a good chunk of QBs in the league today. It's just like,
he's still a top 10 quarterback.
I want to see, like, I think what it really comes down to that I want to see is, again, like, is this going to bleed into next season? Like, is he going to keep having, like, these, like, not, I don't know how to word this, like, not, like, world-beating performances? Like, is he not going to play, is his level of play, I guess, going to continue to, like, slowly start to fall off? Or can he, like, bring it back and have another like really like MVP level season? We don't know yet. And I feel like that's going to tell what happens next season is probably going to tell us a lot about the future of Rodgers with Green Bay. Either way though, I really don't feel like he has that much left. I feel like if he makes it somehow to the end of this 4-year deal, he's probably going to retire. I don't really see how he plays that much longer.
Did you know that Aaron Rodgers has 13 turnovers, which is just one behind the league lead?
Did not know that.
Yeah. 14 leads the league. Josh Allen and Matt Ryan. One of those is not like the other, but
yeah.
There you go.
Jesus. All right. The NFL, man. It's such a wild season.
The NFL is weird.
It is. You know what else is weird?
What is
a lot of these NBA City Edition jerseys that yeah, we kind of have gone over the rest of the topics. We're looking forward to the clinching scenarios next week. We're looking forward to the USA hopefully moving on to the round of 8 next week. We'll see what happens there. But for now, we are officially bringing back Tier This. I don't have the graphic for it yet. We'll have it at some point soon. But we're bringing back we're going to be tier listing the NBA City Edition uniforms for this current season. There we go.
Nice.
Okay. So we'll start out with the Atlanta Hawks. I believe this is in alphabetical order. So Atlanta Hawks.
I can vibe with it. I think it's like a low A, high B. You get like sort of that peach color, classic Atlanta.
Yeah,
I think it's a good jersey. It's a well.
I'm good with A tier here, honestly.
Yeah, I'm down with A tier.
It's pretty clean. I like the peach color. I like the gradient that they're using. Honestly, same with Boston.
Yeah, I can
think
dig
it's clean
Boston.
enough.
I'll take Atlanta over Boston, but I think Boston's an A tier.
Sure. I want to know what the deal behind Brooklyn's is.
It's just too many letters, and now not to say that you can't have like your name spelled out, like these next few teams do, like Chicago or Boston does or Atlanta does, but
both LA teams.
Yes, but I just disagree fundamentally with how the Nets did that. Just either Brooklyn or Nets. You don't need to have both. So I'm gonna go C tier. I'd be down to go down to D tier too.
I'm going D tier though, because it just like it seems like there's some kind of design on the side. I don't see that entirely in this picture, but like
I think I could be wrong, but I believe it's something relating to like the subway system.
Ooh. Maybe that's what that stuff is on the side. I'd go C tier then because of that, but like
perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know. Charlotte Hornets.
I don't like when Pittsburgh. I don't like when teams screw up like the usual abbreviation for their city. Or for their sports teams, at least. I know Charlotte CLT is the airport code, like PDX for Portland, PGH for Pittsburgh. I get that it means something to the city.
Is that why it's PDX?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. That's weird. I don't like it when teams do like CLT. I feel like is a little more forgivable, but like it's got to be CHA in my opinion still.
Yeah. Charlotte is annoying because like you can do CHO or CHH or CHA, and then they do CLT. I'm gonna put a C tier in that one.
Yeah, same. Chicago's looks clean, but it doesn't look like a city. Like it doesn't
looks like their normal jersey. I'm gonna go B tier.
It's not a bad jersey, but it just looks like their normal jersey.
Okay, I will say with Cleveland, I would like to own this jersey. I will also say that is not a great depiction of that jersey. There's the L and the A form a bucket or a basket.
Yeah, I can kind of see it on my screen. I don't know if I can zoom in and it'll. Oh yeah, I kind of can. You can kind of see like the little ball and like the basket there. The picture's kind of blurry, but like.
Big fan. I think it's A tier.
You think it's A tier? You would own the jersey, so I'd imagine it's pretty high up.
I would own the jersey.
I will fall to your judgment completely. So.
Now I need to figure out what player, because I think it's like if it was just Spida, not Mitchell, that'd be pretty cool. But
that'd be cool.
I think Dallas just kind of understood the assignment here.
I'd give B tier for Dallas. It's clean.
I think it's fine. It works.
Yeah, it works. Throwback. Denver.
It's like an ode to the early 90s Nuggets when they were more of a black-red ordeal rather than a blue-yellow ordeal. So I get what they're trying to go for, and you have the nice stripes down the side. But
I like the stripes.
I think it's a B, maybe low B, high C.
I'd probably go B. I do like the stripe pattern. I think that saves it.
Fair.
Detroit.
This is another one that you're going back to like a color scheme that you're not really used to, and this is more of like the robot horse era. I don't
think there's enough nostalgia for it. Like I want to go to another sport here. For example, like the Buffalo Sabres in the NHL are bringing back the goat head stuff, and there's like a considerable amount of nostalgia for it. Like even though it was a completely different logo, completely different colors than what the fans are used to, there's so much nostalgia for it that it works. I don't think that it works in this case.
Was he in the crease? Yes or no?
Oh boy, we're gonna play this game. I think the rule is stupid. I'm glad they got rid of it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. Fair enough.
Detroit.
I'd go probably C tier. I think it's better than Brooklyn and Charlotte, but I don't think I would pick that in NBA 2K.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Golden State has a jersey I would pick in NBA 2K.
This is a wild one, but I kind of dig it. It's like a rose, I think.
Mm-hmm.
A yellow rose. I honestly, normally it's like hit or miss when NBA teams do this. Like they have that kind of imagery on their jerseys. I kind of think this one works. I like it for Golden State.
Okay, before we get to Houston, I would like to pause for a moment so you can rant about something. 1 second.
I don't know what I'm going to rant about. We'll wait until he gets back to Houston. I would probably put this in A tier, I think.
There it is.
I can still hear you, by the way. I don't know if he knows, but I can still hear him. So I heard him looking for his Houston hat.
Hi.
Hi. I heard you looking for your Houston hat.
Yes.
So, there you go. I think we're comfortable putting this in A tier, Golden State.
Yes.
All right. Houston.
S tier.
I won't argue. I won't argue.
Execution. Bang.
They did it right. They did it right. I'm not gonna argue. I think it looks glorious. So
I agree.
There you go.
Right, back to the Cavs.
Back to the Cavs beanie.
I only own for context. I only own the Rockets hat because at some point in my life I want to own a Hakeem Olajuwon jersey. So need something to match with it. Also, I have a Nuggets hat because I want to have a matching Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf jersey at some point in my life, but that's not today. Pacers F tier. No, don't put a color and black. What are we doing?
Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Well, sometimes being.
I think it's dependent on the team. I really do think it's dependent on the team. So
it looks like I made it in NBA 2K, which is not a good thing because I have the design skills of a dead cow.
I kind of make jerseys. I don't want to say in this style on 2K, but like.
It's a 2K jersey.
It's a 2K jersey.
It's a 2K jersey.
It's very much a 2K jersey. All right. Clippers.
See?
This one looks like another jersey out of GTA.
I think it's like better. It's better than the Indiana. I'd go. I could be swayed into B tier, but I'd probably go C tier.
I'd go C tier for this. The Lakers. I honestly, I'm in the same boat with that. I think that I like the uniform as a whole on like better than the jersey on its own. I don't like the way that they position the Los Angeles text. It could be worse. I don't hate it entirely, but like if I was forced into buying a Lakers jersey this season, I'd get the purple one. I wouldn't get this one.
Okay, I go
C tier. Memphis.
Not vibing with it. Sorry. It does not pass.
Tried it with the throwback stuff, but it
does not pass the vibe check. You need some color there. Black's not doing it. Some teams look good in black.
I can see some kind of stripe on the side, but I don't know what color it is. I don't know. There needs to be more. Bottom line, there needs to be more. D tier.
It goes bottom of C tier.
Okay.
I think the Pacers are their own travesty.
Jesus. Miami bringing back that fun little remix version from the 75th anniversary season, I think, when they had like a different letter from all their different eras, except the jersey was black and now it's white. Is it
the Unabomber that did the I'm so sorry, that did like would cut out pieces from the newspaper and like tape it together so you couldn't trace his handwriting?
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know. Okay. Like, I don't remember that name entirely, but I know like.
So the Miami Unabombers, I think they do a pretty good job here. I wouldn't want to own this jersey, but I do like the novelty of it. I would go B tier, maybe low A tier.
You would go that high? I don't love this jersey. I'll go B tier with it.
I like the novelty of it. I know they
it's funny, but I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy that. I would buy
it feels a little bizarre.
The whiteout heat, potentially the blackout heat, or they're not called the blackout heat, but the whiteout for sure. Like Mike Miller whiteout, hello, yes.
Okay. The Milwaukee Bucks. I like when teams experiment with trim colors. Mm-hmm. Note the Seattle Seahawks green, action green, which I guess is now kind of that's kind of the color that our show's using, but
Yes.
Um,
I think it's
that's
pretty
often
good.
hit or miss. I think these are fine.
It's fine. It looks more Minneapolis Lakers than Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd go low A or high B tier.
I'd go B tier with this one.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
The Minnesota Timberwolves.
So they're playing on like the Northern Lights sort of deal, I believe.
I strangely don't hate it. I strangely don't.
With it.
Yeah, I'd go A tier too. I like that pattern, actually.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I do have a question as we're like maybe 2/3 of the way through. Do you like the format, or asking an open question to the audience and to Jack, do you like the format when we know what we're talking about and from a design perspective, or when we don't know what we're talking about from a design perspective and it's just the aesthetic look of it? Because I think there's room for both. And I kind of like that. Like, I know that the Cavs one, because I'm a Cavs fan, and like we can piece together the Heat one, and I know a couple of the other ones, but some of these, like, it might have hidden meanings that we don't realize. So what do you think is better for us?
We need to like look. We need to do research before we do our next tier list with jerseys. We need to know if there's like deeper meaning behind stuff.
Okay, fair play. Thought I'd ask.
Okay, now that we're done with that, New Orleans.
Back.
I think that's S tier, honestly. Okay. Or at least A tier. At least A tier.
It's tough because they always do. They always do Mardi Gras. They always do.
They do, but I like the shade of purple that they're going with.
I do like it as well. I think it's S. I don't think it's quite as good as Houston. I think it's very good. I would purchase it if a Zion jersey looks sick. Yeah, I'm cool with A tier. New
York.
This is like
we got a lot of black jerseys coming up.
Early 2000s Knicks. Very bad time for the Knicks, but they had good jerseys. So
yeah,
A tier. A tier. A tier. Yeah,
I agree. Thunder. I guess this is gray.
With swing and a whiff. As much as I love the Thunder's color scheme,
the colors are nice.
They have horrendous jerseys, consistently horrendous jerseys, I might add. Like it's almost they're
just go back to Seattle, bring back the Supersonics.
At this point, I agree. Or expand.
I like their logo. I like their colors, but like the jersey designs are just like with you. It feels like there's potential that's not being used.
I'm gonna go C tier because Indiana sucks, but I would go C tier.
All right, Orlando. I can see a very, very faint pinstripe in this one, but I don't even know if it's there. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I think that's S tier material.
All right.
I think that one's an excellent jersey.
Yeah, I can see. Let me see. I don't know. I can't tell if there's a pinstripe in there, but
it might just be the pixelation.
Yeah, it might be the pixelation. I believe this is the. I almost said the Suns.
Portland.
PDX is really Portland.
Yeah. The thing is, PDX looks better than POR, which is weird. This one throws me off because I don't like CLT. I'm actually kind of the CLT is kind of growing on me. I don't like
you see PDX.
CLT. Yeah. Okay. I think it's pretty good.
I think it's mid.
It's pretty good. I think it's pretty good.
The stripe jumps out at you. They don't often. I don't know why they're using these colors though. I don't know why the Trailblazers are using like a powder blue or like an almost electric blue. Like,
are these City Connect? Not City Connect.
Like City jerseys, yeah. Okay. City edition.
It's probably some way related, like I don't know, national colors.
This is why we need to do our research, ladies and gents.
Maybe it's trees. I don't know, or water. I don't, because Oregon's on the coast. I don't know. I think it's pretty good. I would go A or B tier.
I'm Googling it really quick. I want to know.
Hey, we can always redo this segment for like a just regular and have some research with it. That's fine. I'm down.
This City Edition uniform proudly pays homage to the Portland International Airport's carpet, which reached local icon status in the 90s. The unique geometric shapes displayed over a bright teal base represented the view of the north and south runways as seen overhead by air traffic controllers. The cult following quickly grew as it became tradition for travelers arriving and departing out of PDX airports to take photos of their feet safely planted on the colorfully patterned carpet. An airport carpet is why it's...
That is so funny. I think it makes it better. That makes it better, in my opinion.
Where are we putting it? A tier? B
I'm
tier?
cool with A tier.
I'm cool with A tier after reading that, honestly.
Yeah, that's sick.
All right. The city of brotherly love.
F. Like, bro, you're typing out brotherly love. F.
I don't love it. I don't love it. You tried, but I don't love it.
Credit where credit's due for like trying something, but that is legitimately. It's the like
whenever
the
teams.
Rules. Are you familiar with vexillology rules? Like make a flag simple.
I think so. Something like that.
The idea is don't put writing on a flag. It's a little bit different with jerseys, so you can, I don't know, delineate which team is which, but the gist of it is keep it simple. And the Philadelphia 76ers fundamentally failed at this job of keeping it simple because you're just brotherly love. It's 2 lines of text, and both lines are long. It's not like an LA Lakers, LA Clippers, or Los Angeles, right? Or San Antonio, who I guess is coming up. It's San Antonio, that's the name of the city, or Los Angeles, that's the name of the city, or New York, that's the name of the city. Those are fine, but bro, brotherly it's somehow worse than Indiana. I think that if it just said Philadelphia, or if it just said like PHI, or if it just said
Sixers, PHILA, I know that they've used that one before. That would have been fun.
Yeah, or if it had the bell, if it had a bell logo and the
Ooh, that'd be cool.
But bro, and the fonts, I don't think very legible. So I'll pass F jersey. Pacers, you are spared.
The Suns.
I think it's very good. See, the Phoenix, instead of putting PHX or PHO or
they just slap their logo on it, and I think it works.
That works. I think it works, and I think the Thunder could do the same thing if they didn't have letters in their logo. But it works. I think that's S tier, or A tier, or S tier.
I'm going A tier. It's pretty clean. Sacramento.
Hello, Detroit Red Wings. Just
at least they didn't put Sacktown on this one.
Word to Christian Pulisic.
There you go. Oh my God, no. All right. Yeah, it's a jersey. It works as a jersey, not really as a city edition. Again, there could be deeper meaning behind it that we don't know.
I'm cool with C. I think it's fine. I would go B, actually.
I'd go B, yeah.
It's pretty good. It's a good jersey. It's like Milwaukee or like a Chicago that it doesn't feel special. There's probably some underlying meaning, like Milwaukee. I'm going to take a stab with Milwaukee and say that the blue is representing the water in the city. I don't know. I know Milwaukee is spectacular water because they're a very large beer town, but
oh my God,
no, I'm serious. Like
I know you are serious. Yeah,
like historically, I know. That's why like the Milwaukee Brewers are a thing.
Miller Park.
Yeah, like it's so ingrained.
What it should still be called.
Yes, I agree. What is it called now?
American Family Field or something like that.
Better than Guaranteed Rate.
Better than Crypto.com Arena now being the new name for the Staples Center.
The funniest thing with Staples Center is that Staples is a brand.
It is.
Like, you think that's bad because it used to be the Forum, right?
No.
No?
The Forum's still a thing. The Forum is still.
Is that where UCLA plays?
UCLA plays at Poly Pavilion, I believe.
Yes. Okay. L.
The Kings, Lakers, and Clippers play at Crypto.
Okay, I'll take the L on that one. But I think Sacramento works here.
I won't give you an L because there's too many teams in the city for you to remember, so it's fine. The toothpaste Spurs. Shout out to Tixa from that one episode where we both lost our minds laughing because he called the Spurs logo toothpaste.
He's not wrong.
Nope.
See, okay. The Spurs are sort of in that weird realm with there's not many other teams that are just black and gray or silver as their colors, but there are other teams that have just 2 colors, right? It's the Red Wings are red and white. The Maple Leafs are blue and white. The Canadiens are red and white with a little bit of blue. So when you have this gray and black stuff, or 2 color stuff, it's weird when you mix more colors in. I think it's fine. And I know the Spurs used to wear more colorful jerseys
That
before
that
one
kind of thing
one
is
came
very
around.
team dependent. Like if the team in its
Mhm.
past had like good colors, like as a
That's
throwback, then that
true.
would be nice. So
Mhm.
word to the LA Kings, but I think it's
We need
weird
to do
because
baseball. We need to do a jersey anthology at some point.
we do,
Agreed.
100% we do. Um, that can come after the Madden World Cup, but anyway,
Ooh, name dropping.
name dropping stuff. Keep an eye out, guys. Okay,
I'll go. I'm between
I'd
B
go
and C.
I'd go C tier with this
Yeah, I'm
because it
cool with
feels like
that.
they're trying to mishmash a ton of their like old designs together too, and it just
Mhm.
doesn't really work for me.
Right.
Toronto,
Chef's kiss.
S
That's.
tier.
I think that's a top 5 one. If you want to put
Yeah,
it in S or A, I'm cool either way.
I'm
But
going S tier.
that
That's
rhyme,
clean as hell.
that was beautiful. That is like good. That is very good. You're using one of your
It's a
alternate colors.
shame. It is an absolute shame that I hate LAFC because they use black and gold, and I don't think black and gold is the worst color combination ever. I
It's
like
very good.
it is. Like I hate the Golden Knights. I hate LAFC. I love their colors though.
Oh,
So
I have a Vegas Golden Knights beanie, baby.
here you go.
Yes.
Okay. We're down to Washington. I believe this is a Rose City or whatever style
Yeah.
colors for this one.
Or cherry blossom.
Cherry blossom. That's
All
it.
right. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna throw a ball up in the air. 400 feet straight away center. Banger. Absolute bangers and mash. Beautiful. That rounds up the top 5. You can pick any team, any group out of the A's and throw it up there. But I think the best 4 Mount Rushmore's Houston, Orlando, Toronto, Washington.
All right. I think we can come to a good compromise there. So
I
that's our
do.
list.
My only critique with Washington that doesn't make it as good as the other 3, but still S tier, is if it was like if they did what like the Nationals did and had a gray base with like pink.
You want them to go
accents.
full nationals and have like the whole like cherry blossoms all over
Yes,
the.
I think this one might work in more of a Sacramento Kings color, and then have the accents be pink. Because I do think the pink overwhelming. It's sort of like when the Sixers wear red, or the Nationals, the Wizards wore those gold jerseys back in like the Gilbert Arenas days. It can be a little much. I think it works enough. I think it's very good, and I think it fits the city. It fits the group of jerseys here with the vibrant colors. New Orleans, Portland, or not? I guess Portland is the sash. Phoenix, Spurs, like these teams, nice colors, and I think Washington hit the nail on the head.
There we go. Alrighty. Jersey Anthology probably coming in the near future after we simulate all these Madden games. So
yes. So Madden World Cup is coming soon. If you have followed us over here from our U Stadium days, it's coming. It is coming very soon. So yeah. Any last words there, Jack?
I wish the Rams weren't hurt because then I would be looking forward to the Seattle game. But
Yeah,
it is what it is.
it
It just
happens.
be like that
They
sometimes.
do
And
happen. They do be like that.
today I learned that the Portland Trail Blazers have a City Edition uniform based on a carpet, and somehow that makes it better than what it actually probably should be. So
That is correct.
the things you learn when it comes to
Yeah.
sports uniforms.
I do have a question for you. What time will you be waking up for Netherlands USA on Saturday?
That game, let me see again. I think it's
7 a.m. Pacific.
I usually wake up at 7 a.m. Pacific, so I'm probably gonna have to wake up a little bit earlier just to make sure I'm like able to watch it. I've woken up early for F1 races. If you remember when we did the 24-hour stream, I was up at like 5:50 in the morning so I could watch Monaco before our stream, and that race ended up getting delayed, so that was fun. But
yeah, I was up for that too. I was up like 30 hours. Do not recommend that. I missed Spencer Strider starting for the first time.
Man,
that was fun though. I don't think we should do 24 hours again, but I do think it would be cool to do like
I'm down for another like 12-hour stream. That was fun.
Yeah,
and
the only issue I have with that is we can't like clip it. So if we have good content, we can't clip it unless it's in the first 10 hours.
Maybe 8 hours.
I like 8.
10 hours, 10 hours. Like I'd be down for one of those because like it'd just be
Mhm.
like sitting here all day, but like you don't have to worry about like missing sleep or anything. So
4, 6, 8. Maybe when we get the channel monetized, could do it for charity.
True.
That'd be cool.
Let us know in the comments if you
Yeah,
guys
drop
are
it
seeing
down
this.
below.
Let us know what you think. I think that's gonna wrap us up here for now.
All right.
So
Wonderful people. Hope you have a wonderful day. And remember, the now injured Aaron Donald does in
but
fact
still
train with
Super Bowl
knives.
champion Aaron Donald trains with knives, sharp pointy objects. We will see you hopefully next week.